And what is up, everybody? Happy Sunday. Welcome to Talking Ball, y'all. I am Cass Hargis. That is Jason Due and Lance LaClasse. And we are here on a Sunday night. We're going to recap week 8. We are already in week 8 of the Louisiana high school football regular season. I know the Saints had a loss today. We had some breaking news, but otherwise, pretty good Sunday for you guys. A good weekend.
So I'm saying high school football.
That's what I'm talking about. We've got the best right here. So if you're looking for a little escape from reality, we got you. And we have a great show for you tonight. We previewed this week, and it seemed like we started where we always start in District 2-5A. We're going to start right back there again tonight. There were some mega matchups, as there seems to be every weekend. And before we jump into both games we're going to talk about from 2-5A, we are pleased to have with us the head football coach of the Neville Tigers, Coach Mike Collins. Coach, we appreciate you hopping on here and joining us tonight.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
You got it. Well, let's get right into it. We talked a little bit before we jumped on just how much of a grind, so to speak, it is up in that district. You had another one this week. You're playing a Ouachita team that came in 0-2 in district. They were 5-2 coming into the game. I don't have to tell you this, but it's not like a situation where we're overlooking anybody. I actually got to watch a lot of this ball game. Another thrilling ending. Ouachita goes for 2 after their last touchdown. You hang on to win 38-37. Talk to us a little bit about, kind of what transpired Friday night.
Well, we jumped out to a really nice lead. We were up 21-7 and had a chance to make it 28. Didn't capitalize on it. And then gave up a screen pass down the Deckham sideline there, missed a bunch of tackles on it, just didn't have great leverage on defense, and they were able to score. And then they pooch kicked it to us. It wasn't really a sky kick, and it really wasn't a onside kick. It was more of a little pooch kick, and, our guy didn't go get it, and they recovered it. And so it made, next thing you know, they score, and it's 21-21 instead of us being up, and with a comfortable lead, and it's all of a sudden it's a ball game. So anyway, as the game went on, kind of rocked back and forth there, and they scored, took a nice drive on us and scored, and then went for 2, and we pressured him, and we were able to get home on the pressure, and that cat is a special Montreal Connor special quarterback.
Yes, he is.
He's really athletic and really concerned us, and he made a lot of plays with his legs, got out of a lot of trouble with his legs as well. And, we were able to hang on and then take the ball and run the clock out. So, proud of our offense for being able to do that at the end of the ball game. Proud of our defense for coming up with a big play to stop the 2-point play. It came down to really special teams as well. We opened the game up, returned the kickoff for a touchdown. We blocked a field goal and returned it for a touchdown as well. So 2 big special teams plays in the ball game for us as well. And, those things just solidify what you tell your team. Hey, it's offense, defense, and the kicking game. And they're all 3 phases of the game you got to be able to be successful in. And sure enough, there it is right there.
It's awesome. Yeah, I was going to talk a little bit about special teams, but I guess I'll go to my next question. So what we're enamored by down here, Catholic League, we're all invested in the Catholic League down here.
Right.
It's heavy defense, low-scoring games. Me and Jason just had Holy Cross Rome was 3-0 at halftime.
Right.
You guys up there, we know you guys are a great district as well. In my opinion, by far the 2 best districts in the Catholic League, and you guys for sure.
Right.
But you guys, whole different dynamic. I mean, talk about, I guess, the challenge of being a defensive guy in your district up there. We all score 30, 40 points every game.
I know it, Lance. It's hard. It's killing me, killing my soul. You know that. And, but here's the thing. We have really, really played dynamic defense at times in ball games. And then, for some reason, we've had a letdown, whether it be a long ball or whether it be, some screen that we miss a bunch of tackles on and they score. So it's been really a frustrating year for us on defense because we've really played lights out. Ruston had 0 yards rushing in the first half. 0. And really only had like 15 for the game. So, but yet our score ends up being, 30, 40 41-37. We're up 37-20, and one of those was an interception by their defense, returned for a touchdown. So it's been a frustrating year defensively for us, just because we think we've got a chance to be pretty good, and we are good, very, very good at times, and not so good at other times, which is obvious. And just the offenses in general in our league right now have really, everybody's a little bit different. Ash is totally different from everybody else. Then you throw in West Monroe, who's really old school. West Monroe to a certain degree. They're more wing T type, bunch of off gap scheme, 12 personnel stuff, and then you go to Ruston, which is power, and then all of a sudden, they got the big wide out, and he's just hard to handle. Just let me tell you, he's hard to handle. And then you got Washita with a bunch of great athletes running all over the place, and the 100-meter champion from, I think he finished third in the state. The 100 meters is the tailback, and then the quarterback is hurdler, who was in the state meet in the hurdles. So you're talking about two premier athletes, and then they have the wideout, and everybody's got some playmakers. I mean, even West Monroe's got the playmaker at wideout. So it's just a matter of how they get them the ball is all different, and so you got to prepare for something different every week. So that's what's made it really. That's what's made it really tough compared to, the tight ball games. And this league used to be straight defense. I mean, totally dominant in defense. But nowadays it's, you got to be able to score the ball, and so I think that's probably why defenses may be playing more snaps is some of the problem. Or, sometimes your offense is only. You're only out there about a minute, just depends on how successful you are. And so I think that's, why our league is really like it is right now.
Coach, I know Lance just hit on maybe talking about special teams. I'm going to go ahead and dive into it. Your team has kind of had moments struggling in special teams, especially the onside kick game. But this past week, despite not being able to recover that one, 17 points off of special teams, a kickoff return for a touchdown, a block punt return for a touchdown. What can you say about your special teams unit after a game like this?
Well, I think that's, what we talked about earlier, and the thing that we have stressed, and we have a tremendous emphasis on special teams. I mean, when we go out there on Sunday evening, which we just got through doing, I mean, we do all our special teams drills. We do all our kickoff cover drills. We do all our punt return drills. We do all our punt drills. We do all our kickoff return drills. We do all our drill work on Sunday evening, and then we, make corrections offensively and defensively. So, 25 minutes we spend on just technique. And I think that's the most frustrating thing to me. And plus the amount of time we spend during the week on each one of them. But I think that was the most frustrating thing to me, is how much time we invested in them, and we really weren't playing very well on them, especially. And I can't tell you how many onside kicks we have tried to recover way before all that started happening. And, how many balls we kicked, how many balls we've thrown and rolled, and to those units, our kickoff return team and our hands team. So, us being able not to field one, was kind of disappointing. And then to turn it around, and then to have the week that we had this past week, I think what you'd say is the proof's in the pudding. I mean, it finally came to fruition that, hey, everything we did is for a reason, and here it is. It just helped us win a ball game.
Coach, you talked about the offense being able to score in your district, and really, I guess that's the state of football as it is now. How comforting is it for you to have someone like Parker Robinson at quarterback? I know he battled some injuries earlier in the year, came back, and now he seems to be healthy. But having someone out there, a coach's son, a playmaker who can go run the offense for you, you got to sleep a little bit better at night.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's a great young man. I mean, he's our best basketball player on our basketball team too, by the way. And, he was beat up early, and, he's still limited to a certain degree, with the ankle, because it was a pretty good sprain. And, the good thing is he's a coach's kid. Well, his mama's the best athlete. Let me just tell y'all. She's in the Louisiana Hall of Fame for basketball from Anacoco, and she played at Louisiana Tech back when they were really, really good. So she's the athlete, not the daddy. You know, yeah. But I'll say this too. His granddad was a coach as well, and he was a coach at Delhi High School for a long, long time, and had since retired. But on top of that, we have a coach's son coaching him, and Steven Inspinger is our quarterback coach. So, very fortunate to have Steven's knowledge as well, and at the same time, him being able to coach Parker. And Parker's just improved and continues to improve every week, and really pleased with his progress. I mean, we weren't going to play him in the Calvary game, just to give you, for instance. I mean, good grief, man. Yeah, if y'all saw, not the Calvary game. Yeah, the Calvary game. If you saw how he got his ankle rolled up, you'd go, "Oh Lord, that boy he ain't gonna walk for a week." 2 weeks. So anyway, we got him ready, and he didn't practice all week. Just had therapy and treatment all week long, and you got to halftime, it was tied up, and then we first play out the shoot in the second half, we throw a pick. And I said, well, hell, we're probably not going to be able to do this the whole ball game. So anyway, we put him back in the ball game. The rest is history. We beat him 38-14. So and beat a good Calvary team. So we really played good offensively in that game. We played really good defense in that ball game as well. And we played some prolific players, man. Good Lord, Pop Houston at Evangel right off the bat. Then Calvary's offense. I mean, nobody slowed them down since we got through playing them. And then you turn around, you roll into our district. You play St. Thomas More, and we flubbed that one up. And of course, they did a great job of winning it. And like you said, his onside kick in the ball game that after they scored, that they got it. And then you turn around, we go to Sterlington, and they're the state champions in AAA and division, whatever division they're in, 3, I guess. And, then we roll into district. Everybody in the district's undefeated and ranked 1, 2, and 3, so here we go.
Cool. Coach, I'm a big strength and conditioning guy. You were talking about the development of kids, at your program before we really got on air. Would love to hear you talk about kind of your off-season program, your strength and conditioning program, and just the importance of developing kids up there at Neville.
Well, Lance, I'm going to tell you, I got as good as there is, I promise you. Eric Herndon does a fantastic job with our strength and conditioning. Of course, now I'll give you a little background on Eric. Okay, Coach Al Miller, who you guys in strength and conditioning world are familiar with, or should be. And Coach Miller obviously has been, in the NFL Strength and Conditioning Hall of Fame and everything else. But Coach Miller was my strength coach in college. And then his wife got sick years ago, and he came back to Neville and did it for 2 years, came out of the pros, went back to Neville in high school, and Coach Herndon just took to him, and got on his hip, and they just went to war together, and, basically taught him A to Z, everything about it. And so when Coach went back to the NFL, Eric took over, and Coach Miller comes by and visits all the time. And, we're always glad to have him around, just his presence. But Eric does a fantastic job, Lance. I mean, you'd love him. We're big, and we visited this morning, matter of fact, about, we got 24 guys with the new catapults on. And so we're going to, we measure in, the intensity, the overall, the force, and, everything that those things measure. It's endless, really. But there's certain things that we take out of there, and then we're going to talk about, and we're going to see how many yards a guy goes, and we're going to see how fast he went there, and we're going to see how much intensity he played with and everything. And we had some guys do some traveling in the last ball game. Matter of fact, we did more in the ball game against Ouachita. Our overall intensity level in the Ouachita game was more than it was in the Ruston game. And, and he came in and he said, "You believe in that?" And I said, "Yeah." We played hard. We didn't play very smart, but we played hard. And so anyway, we're big into the catapults. We try to utilize those things to, develop what we're going to do during the week. I mean, how much I'm going to utilize this guy in practice, how far he has to run, try to manage the distance, so we can get the great speed at which he works and the great intensity that he works with, and then that all goes into the weight room as well. So utilizing that in the weight room and making sure that we're still in, we're in periodization, still during our season. We're trying to continue to get stronger, but being smart about getting stronger. We're not backing down. We're just backing off the numbers, so to speak. So our volume is lower, but our intensity is higher. And so I think that's probably the best way to describe it to you.
Coach, that was the best answer I've ever heard from Louisiana high school football coach. I can't believe I know a lot about the catapults. I didn't realize. I mean, down here, none of our schools have them. It's incredible. Y'all have that. Y'all tracking that. That is the new age of training. All these NFL guys I train, when I'm checking in on them, hey, how's it going? They're responding with catapult metrics. They're responding with, I hit 22 miles per hour. I was averaging this. That is a new age athlete. That's what they want. And that's what they're attracted to. That's how you get the most out of them.
It is. And look, we put their deal up there every day, we have 24 of them, and we have 24 guys on there, and we put all their little measurements up there on the board, where they can see it. And then we have a speed limit sign, a 20 mile an hour speed limit sign. And if you hit the 20 mile an hour mark, you get to sign the sign. And so we had the fastest guy we've had. It was in the Ruston game. He hit 21.9 miles an hour. And so that's been our fastest guy yet, over the years. Now we have, I don't know, we probably have 20 guys in the 20 mile an hour club that have hit 20 miles an hour. So we've been, we're trying to reward them too and let them see how important that is, overall to everything. And, but it's been pretty phenomenal. Trying to keep up with the times, Lance.
It really is. That's incredible. Really good work.
And you were worried about technology, Coach. Look at you.
Yeah. Well, I can read a graph. That's about all I can do. You probably got how to do that.
Well, look, Coach, I know I'm sure you get asked a lot about, guys like Robinson. You also have Jalen Young, talented guy, Juju Burns, Jaden Reed. But, two guys that have really stood out to me are Imad Sledge and Jarvis Blackston. Blackston, a really physical running back. I really enjoy watching him. And Sledge, a guy, busted 2 big catches a week ago, has a ton of speed as well. Can you talk about some of those guys?
I will. And you're talking about 2 really good football players and 2 guys we'll have back, which Jarvis is just a sophomore and Sledge is a junior. And Imad had been hurt, until that game you saw where he made those great catches in. And ended up getting hurt in the dadgum game the other night, Washita game in first quarter. So I don't know how it'll be with him. He's just battling the toe, and it just keeps, we got him in a boot right now. So I don't know how long it'll be for him, but, really a special cat. You can see what he can do. And, when we have him and Zaylen in there at the same time, it's tough. It helps Zaylen tons because now they can't double him up and, all that. And Imad has great speed and, was able to, he'll go run a ball down, which you saw in that game. And Jarvis, man, he just, gets those tough yards. He's strong. He's powerful. I think what makes him special too is he doesn't look like he could catch a ball, but he was a center fielder as well in baseball. And, I looked out there the very first time last year when he was a freshman, I said, dang, I went to the baseball game, went to the freshman game to watch our guys. And because, a lot of our freshman football players are out there playing baseball when they're freshmen. And then, sooner or later they figure out, hey, I'm not very good at this or I'm better at this and, decide to do one thing and, which I hate. I never want them to do that because I just think it hurts all our programs. And I don't want him to do that. But he decided he wasn't going to play baseball this year. And I said, man, I think you're making a big mistake. But anyway, my point is he can go catch a fly ball and looks like he's been doing it his entire life. And so, but he has great balance and body control. He's very, very powerful in the weight room. And he's also in the 20-mile-an-hour club. He did that a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was the guy that hit it. And I think he hit 20.1. He just squeaked in there, but he got in there, And so he's also a really, really good kid, too, on top of it. And it's kind of like, we had Jalen Nichols last year, who's at North Carolina now. And with Jamarian Roberson and Blackston, they're Jalen Nichols all in one. Jalen Nichols is them. Well, now we just kind of have the dynamic duo, I mean, one can do certain things really, really well. Then Jarvis made such great runs at the end of the game the other night. I was so proud of him because, he had fumbled the ball in the Ruston game the week before, that when we were getting ready to go up, 44-20. And he had fumbled the ball, and that sucker was headed out of bounds. It took a hard left and went right in the end zone. So it was a touchback. And so, he felt so bad, because that's when it all started happening. And, but he nutted up. He took that ball, and he covered it up and protected it the other night because, trust me, they were trying to get it out of there. And, couldn't have been more proud of him for that.
Coach, this has been a lot of fun. If we could stay here and do this all night, but I know you gotta go get ready for the schedule eases up a little bit for you. Yeah, you got the Rebels. So,
yeah.
And that game is at West Monroe. So y'all,
it is. Yep.
You will have your hands full, but there's no doubt y'all will be ready. Man, it's been fun following y'all. From afar, we can't wait to see what y'all do here moving forward. I know that. That district ain't no joke, and one of the reasons is because of coaches like you and staffs like you and y'all's program. But this was awesome. We appreciate you hopping on. Good luck, not just next week, but the rest of the season.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate y'all having me on there.
You got it. See you, Coach.
All right, baby.
That was awesome.
That was great.
That was awesome. No, coaches. Well, and it's easy to see as he gets into talking about his players and his programs why those guys are so successful. Like it's not just from the strength and conditioning aspect of it as he got into, but the fact that they have 24 catapults and use that system is incredible.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable.
They do it right. I feel like teams up in that part of the state kind of all compete with each other to kind of one up each other, and it makes for some very fun football.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe part of that we didn't get to with Coach Collins. We just ran out of time a little bit, but Coach Collins was at the college level forever. He was actually my first college defensive coordinator, so he brings like a Division I football mindset to that district, which is a bunch of guys in that district that also have that mindset. But like the reason why those schools are winning and so impressive, it's because of guys like him that are leading that program.
Yeah, and we talked a little bit as well. They had they get it right. They get the spirit of high school football. There was a Special Olympics event. We didn't get to ask him about that as well during the game. And he talked a little bit that before we came on and said they put it together. And they all kind of went and got to have a backstage access, if you will, to the game. And just they understand high school football. They get the intensity of it. They get the relationships. And it's awesome to see from afar. Yeah,
no, absolutely. And we'll stay in that district to go to our next game.
Before that, we want to make sure that you guys follow, like, and subscribe. Please make sure to go ahead and share. We appreciate everybody who does watch every week, but please make sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff.
We got it ready tonight.
I got it. We're not forgetting this time, I promise you.
No, not at all. We are ready to go. But elsewhere in District 2-5A, Ash goes to Ruston and wins 45-28. Hands Ruston their first district loss. I got to watch a little bit of this game on Friday. And I know, Lance, you talk about it all the time with the middle eight. This was the epitome of that, and we could really shrink it down. This is really like the middle three. But Ash is down in a ball game with about 2 minutes left. Before half, Carson Sellers hits Alex Fontenot on a little hideaway wheel route wide open in the end zone to make a one-score game with about a minute and a half left. Ruston throws an interception. Ash scores again before half on Kason Williams' touchdown run to take the lead 24-21. And then coming out of half, Ash marches down, kicks a field goal to make it 27-21. And they kind of extend their lead from there. But it was the game was won with about 2 minutes left in the second quarter right there for Ash.
This Ash team is just such a complete all-around team. It seems like it's a team that can win in a lot of different ways, but Carson Kell is a quarterback, throws for 3 touchdowns. Kason Williams runs for 2 touchdowns. They also go 3 for 3 on field goals. Like, they're good at everything, it seems like, And so, I mean, it just feels like a very, very complete football team that is competing to get back to the Dome this year.
And don't forget as well, Williams ran for over 200 yards. I mean, he had a really big day offensively. You guys hit on it. The tail end of that half, I think they scored, I believe it was 31 unanswered at one point. It completely changed the complexion of the game. We know how talented Ruston is, and for them to come out and dominate that portion of the game and to win that way is super impressive. What I really like about Alexandria's offense as well, they'll go turbo. Like, they'll hit you with turbo. They'll stay same personnel, same side, and they'll just go at it. And when they're able to run their offense through their turbo set, they're really hard to stop because they have so many guys. Jakari Griffin, a guy at receiver.
They got Noble Williams back this week too.
Yes,
he came back. Yeah.
Yes, they do have Noble Williams back. So when their offense is revving and rolling, like, they are really hard to stop. On the other side of the ball, Dalen Powell still got his touches, 141 for 3 touchdowns. But I'm really impressed with this Alexandria team. We talk a lot about their offense, but Bayonne at defensive end is a really big playmaker. I know he just took a visit to a college campus recently as well. Bryson Phoenix, such a big physical player who's getting a ton of attention all across the college ranks this season. That's not including Xavier White. Xavier White's one of the leading tacklers in the state, guys. Really great instincts. But this Alexandria team has really shrugged off that loss to West Monroe a few weeks ago. And in this league, you have to be able to do that because it's very hard to see any team going through this district unscathed because there's so much talent top to bottom.
No, there is, and it's physical week to week. And this Ash team, and you can't just do it on one side of the football. You've got to be able to score, and you've got to be able to play some type of defense. And Ash is starting to look like one of the more complete teams, not just in this district, but in the state. The fact that Kason Williams rushes for 219 on that Ruston defense is impressive. And then, oh, by the way, Carson Sellis is going to throw 3 touchdown passes. It's just tough to stop. But yeah, Ash looks like a very complete football team.
And they're in the select bracket, so they're going to be competing again. That's the big thing, though, right? They're going to be competing against the Catholic League, and that's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
Yeah, no doubt. Down in Lafayette, East Ascension. This is a non-district game. East Ascension travels to Turlings Catholic. Turling stays undefeated with an extremely impressive 64-29 victory. This Turlings team, they're 8-0, 4-0 in district, and their offense, man, it starts and ends with Alex Munoz. He started the game 10 of 11 passes, ended up throwing for 265 for 3 touchdowns. Also ran for 110 and scored a touchdown. Running back Spencer Mesh, 6 carries, 104 yards with 2 touchdowns. But I think this offense and this team, it's Alex Munoz, and if he can throw for 200 plus and run for 200 plus, it's going to be tough to stop.
I would say start fast, finish strong. Looks like that's exactly what Turlings did here. The offense started really fast, jumped out to a lead, scored on their first 3 possessions. Midway through the third quarter, interception, kind of really poured gas on the fire, and they finished strong, right? So I know that's a really tough place to play. That's the type of place that you get off the bus not ready to play, you fall behind real quick, and it's the loudest sound system in the their sound system is insane. So I just remember coaching there in a playoff game, and you couldn't even hear in the press box. So you find yourself behind 21-0 up there, it's hard to even communicate to get the next offensive play in.
Coming into this game, we looked at Munoz and said, if they slow down Munoz, who comes up next? Because they don't really have a ton of guys who have – look, he's the leading rusher and the leading passer. Man, Spencer Mesh, 6 carries, 104 yards, not a bad day at all for that offense. I think this team just continues to answer the call whenever there's a question. They played a game against Catholic New Iberia earlier this year, and they won it. They do have another big game that's coming up against St. Thomas more.
Yeah, so, we're probably going to talk about that one on Tuesday.
Probably. I can promise you we are. We're definitely going to talk about that one. But this team continues to answer the call under a brand new coach with that added fuel of Coach Chaponche being on the other sideline. Coach Corville's done an excellent job, guys. 8-0 in year one. Not a bad start at all.
No, not at all. And you better believe that they're going to be ready for this Friday night. Up in 2A, Ouachita Christian, a team that we talked a little bit about last week, really haven't mentioned them until this week. They're undefeated now, 8-0. They traveled to Mangum. They win 35-14, an extremely impressive victory. Just another night for Ouachita Christian. It seemed this Mangum team coming in was really good, putting up a lot of points. Ouachita Christian holds them to 14. Their quarterback, Luke Verdreen, accounted for 5 total touchdowns, threw for 3 touchdowns, ran for 2. This, I think, Jason, you might have said it in our text. This is like the 2A Catholic high, where it's just the program victory. Lance, your Dragons take one on the chin, but this Ouachita Christian team looks pretty dang good.
Yeah, not super surprised me. This Ouachita Christian program, like you guys just alluded to, just a great program. They do this year in, year out. We already know they're going to be a team that you don't want to see in the playoffs. They're going to be there, at the end of the whole thing for sure.
I got to watch this one finally. I've been trying to watch Ouachita Christian for weeks, and I finally caught the stream in time. But I talked about comparing them to Catholic, but the way their offense operates, guys, they'll go pistol heavy. They'll go 4 wide. They'll go, tray. They mix it up offensively, and they execute on every single level. They see a play they don't like, they'll check it real quick, run a 50-yard slant play. Like, this offense is super impressive. Jude Turner, also running back, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns on 8 carries. Mangum struggled to run the football, guys. They struggled to run the football, and they're pretty versatile as well. They really do lean heavily on that run, but really struggle to get it going fully in that department. Despite that, their running back did have a pretty solid day running the football. Willie Randolph ran for 137 and 3 touchdowns, but really they could not get it going offensively. When you're put in a corner like that and you're forced to play with one hand, it really makes it difficult. But hats off to Ouachita Christian. And guys, the big thing is Gavin Polk is going to be – we talked a lot about these lower brackets and potential teams. Gavin Polk could be the difference maker for this Ouachita Christian team. They've had a running clock in 7 weeks, haven't needed to use him. He is their kicker. Guys, he had a 57-yarder. There's film of him hitting a 57-yarder. And I'm going to tell you, there's a few teams I watched. They like to go for 2. They like to kick onside kicks every time. When you're playing against Ouachita Christian, you have to be able to execute on special teams, and that could come into play looking playoff time.
Yeah, no doubt. It might come into play for those guys in the next 2 weeks. They have Faraday and Oak Grove. So their schedule and their district schedule kind of backloaded, but they seem to be clicking on all cylinders here as we inch closer to the playoffs. Speaking of clicking on all cylinders, Gina heads to Bunkie last Friday night, puts up 68 points. They win 68-45 behind Cedric Wilson rushing for 240. The 60-yard receiving touchdown was the last play that I saw before I actually clicked out of the game. I think that made it a 4-score game somewhere in the middle of the second quarter. This offense for Gina is explosive. It seems like they score 60 points every single week, but they go on the road and do this to a team in Bunkie coming in who was undefeated. This Gina Giants team, it might just be for real.
This definitely is one that we'd love to see a rematch of, I think. Bunkie comes in with a little better defensive game plan maybe. But one thing I learned about when I was living in central Louisiana throughout college and all, Gina is a school it's in the middle of nowhere. It's a really strong football community. They always have good players, and then every now and then they have a special team like this one where they got many of great players. And so, they got the Cedric Wilson, Daniel Hatcher, stud running backs. I listened to that coach talk about how lucky he is to have these guys. You just got to get the ball in their hands, and they're that you don't even need a block for them all the time, right? And so, they got some serious talent out there in Gina. They always do, but this seems like a special year. Fun bullet point, Bunky's. This is Bunky's first loss in exactly 2 years. So I think Bunky's going to be okay moving forward.
Yep, that is a good one. It's almost shocking to read that they haven't lost a regular season game in 2 years. That's crazy.
And it was to Gina, right? So look, this Bunky team has a strong defense, guys. That's what's crazy. When you look at the score, you kind of like, oh, Gina, Bunky must not really have a good defense. This defense came in not giving up a ton of points per game.
They've only given up more than 20 points one time this year.
Yeah. I mean, it just speaks to the level of play that this Bunky team has. Zion Lee, Navy commit, still rushed for 197 and 4 touchdowns. He's also an excellent linebacker. But, man, this Gina team running that Veer offense. I don't know what it is about that Veer offense down here, guys. But, again, you got Curtis, you got Gina. Karen Crow still mixes in that split Veer. It was really impressive to watch them. I think the big turning point was early in that game. Bunky tries to go to the flat, throws it backwards. Gina picked it up and ran it back for a touchdown. And from that moment, it felt like Gina kind of had the game under control. But Gina's offensive line, huge offensive line, really got a great push. And when you're talking about those guys, like Lance was talking about, Hatcher and Wilson, they're excellent backs. But you also have to credit those big guys up front for providing that push.
Well, you know why their offensive line's so big? What's their mascot?
Giants.
The Giants. I mean, that's what else would you expect? That's what they got. I mean, you have to be a Giant to play offensive line there.
That's true. I think they're only one of 2 Giants in the state. I think.
Who's the other?
I'll have to look that up. I'll give them my notes. I'll come back with that hard-hitting question next week.
Who the other Giant is?
Green Oaks.
Green Oaks.
Yeah, you could have gave me 4 weeks and I would have never guessed Green Oaks.
Again, I'm saying that very confident, like I know for sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty confident. Green Oaks.
If you're listening and you know that, let us know.
In the comments, go ahead and comment. And while you're at it, you can go ahead and like and subscribe, guys. Like, subscribe, share, follow, all that good stuff. Make sure
put that one on the tee. There you go.
I mean, it was perfect segue. I couldn't help it.
That's it. Speaking of interesting, or not interesting, unique mascots. District 3-5A, the Acadiana Wrecking Rams traveled to Youngsville to play the Southside Sharks. This was a 14-10 game at halftime. Southside was up 14-10 at half. Acadiana, again, it's like once they got into district, they just started rolling. This is their 5th straight victory. They stay undefeated in district. Southside's 2nd loss. Overall, it's like the hump that Southside just can't get over. Honestly, I thought when I saw the score at halftime, I watched a little bit of the beginning of the 3rd quarter. I thought this just might be the night. Acadiana scores in a 4th quarter, though. Dion Simon, their running back, scores on a 1-yard touchdown run to seal the victory. This has got to be a heartbreaker for Southside, knowing how close they are. Kind of just business as usual for Acadiana.
I got to pat myself on the back for a second. I kind of predicted this, if y'all remember, in the early episodes. Acadiana, new coach, new quarterback. Same system, but they played 3 really tough opponents, lost a couple close games in those first 3 games. And I remember saying, like, don't be surprised. I'm looking at the schedule. They could go on a little run. Don't count these guys out. It's too early in the season. Here they are, 5 straight victories, back to business, just finding ways to win close games. I mean, like you said, Southside, we know Southside's a very good program, but it's tough to get over the hump when you're playing against teams like Acadiana. But, yeah, big win for Acadiana, going on the road, getting this win. You take it from there, Jason.
Look,
at the Reef, Jason, at the Reef.
Yeah, at the Reef, man. I love it. Look, Karen Crow's still down the pipe for Acadiana. So their work isn't done. But one of the most – guys, I hate to say it like this, but if only the offense were more dynamic, I really was interested to see the Gallon versus Emmanuel Collins kind of going at it at wide receiver and cornerback, 2 really talented guys. But, guys, undefeated since Gallon's come back. Kennerson back I talked about on the pre-show. He's actually been out for 2 weeks. Dion Simon with a big first half touchdown run, 50-plus yards, and, of course, getting the game winner to seal it. But it goes back to early in the game. Acadiana had a special teams miscue. They muffed a punt. Southside gets the ball on the 10-yard line and can't put points on the board. And ultimately, that's what the game comes down to when you're looking at 2 styles of offense like they have. You're looking at a double wing offense and a split veer. So when you're running those 2 types of offenses, expect fewer possessions, and you got to make the most of every opportunity.
Yeah, and we're 4 or 5 games in big close football games, and the theme has been special teams and or turnovers. It's the same thing. And this next game we're going to talk about, Belle Chase and St. Charles, I feel like is very similar to the Acadiana Southside game. St. Charles comes in, and I know they haven't been in this district for a long time, but the program that's got all the tradition, all the victories. Belle Chase, a team that's kind of trying to catch them or trying to get on their level and earn that respect. They get their opportunity. St. Charles wins the game 19-7. Again, it just kind of felt like a game where St. Charles, being the program they are, kind of expected to win and knew how to win and went out and did it. Belle Chase just not enough to finish the deal. But for St. Charles, Skylar Edwards, man, he might be one of my favorite players to follow in the state. 25 carries, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Their quarterback, Landry LeBlanc, 14 for 16 for 170 yards, 74 yards. If he is going to perform that way, this team is going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, my take on this game is there's two teams that are very, very even. Belle Chase, Coach Myers at Belle Chase, he does a great job. He's been there a while building that program, beautiful facilities and all. Amari Ambrose, really good quarterback over there. Kind of similar to Landry LeBlanc. I think they're both juniors. I think, is Landry LeBlanc a junior?
Yeah, LeBlanc is a junior. Ambrose, is a junior. I'm not positive on Ambrose.
So he's a junior as well. But two junior quarterbacks that are very good. Belle Chase, big up front, good athletes around them. I think two very even teams. I think the big difference here is that St. Charles Catholic, we've seen their schedule. They played an extremely tough schedule to get to this point. They go into a game like this, maybe just a little bit more prepared because of the competition they've seen. Belle Chase has not played nearly the competition. Doesn't make Belle Chase a worse team, but I just look at the flow of this game where St. Charles got off to a much better start. They're up 12-0 at halftime, and then the rest of the game is kind of back and forth. It's 7-7 second half score, right? And so I think this is two very even teams. They're not going to get to play again because they're in separate playoff divisions. But I think that this is a coin toss game, and I think this type of win goes to St. Charles' program and the tough scheduling of Coach Stein.
Savion Bartholomew for Belle Chase, big Texas State commit. Yep. Again, he tried to will his team, that's for sure. They came up, he forced a big turnover in the red zone. Guys, watching this game, when you watch St. Charles, to your point, Cass, LeBlanc dropped some dimes. He had some passes in the bucket, some really nice passes to Gabe Krugler, the tight end, and also to Walker LeBlanc, some really big pitches and catches. Coming in, I said they're going to run the football, and they did not. Look, they ran the football a good bit, but really their passing game was really the biggest difference. And, guys, this was it was a sloppy game for St. Charles. It wasn't their cleanest performance. Going into the half, there was a play that there is a ref shortage. They were not fully staffed for this game. What I can tell you is there was a play before half with 9 seconds left. It was clear as day he got in the end zone. He was a yard over the end zone. The refs take a minute to discuss it. Coach Stein tried to call a timeout. They ruled him not in the end zone and did not get the timeout. I think that really changed the momentum of the game coming out the half. But for the most part, this was not a clean performance for St. Charles, and you still find a way to win 19-7. I think that speaks to the program. But for Belle Chase, look, they're a zag team, right? I talked about that. When everybody's zigging, you want to zag. They like to run the football, which is not super common. A big physical defense. I think this Belle Chase team is setting themselves up nicely in that Division II non-select bracket.
Yeah, no doubt. And it just playing teams like they've got this week or this past week in St. Charles, and then they have Shaw next week. That's only going to make them better and more prepared for the playoffs when they get there. Out in District 5A, Denham Springs puts a explosive halt to the Prairieville 3-game winning streak, winning 51-13, and it was a night of big plays for Denham Springs. Their quarterback, Dejan Galman, throws for 311 yards on only 16 completions. So 16 completions, 311 yards. He throws for 6 touchdowns, 5 touchdowns for 30-plus yards. So a big-time night for the Yellow Jackets, and just a tough one for Prairieville. But this Denham Springs team is very impressive, and they're in the thick of this district race.
Yeah, great coaching staff out there at Denham Springs. Yeah, this is one. I mean, every week there's a surprise here and there. It feels like in this district. This one, I think before the season, you wouldn't have thought of this as a surprise. But the way Prairieville's played the last few weeks, you thought they'd play a little bit better. But the quarterback had a tougher night. Skylar Carey, 83 rush yards. Still had one big touchdown run, but only threw 5 of 15 passing yards. So I think at some point, Denham Springs, again, great coaching staff, very old senior-led group that seemed like they just came with a really good game plan to, slow down this Prairieville offense.
Yeah, and Skylar Kelly is the focal point of this Prairieville Hurricane offense. Mm-hmm. So for them to slow – and I would say that slowed down, right? He still had nearly a $150 total on the day. Still slowed him down, but man, DeJon Goldman has really had a phenomenal season. Hayden Ray as well, their tight end, is a big-time playmaker. He transferred over from Live Oak this past season. He came up with a big 23-yard touchdown. This Denham Springs team has some potential to make some noise. Experience goes a long way. They're a senior-laden team, and just their offensive ability. Now you're matching it up with a big defensive effort. This is a scary football team coming down the stretch.
Yeah, and especially those older teams, they don't panic, whether it's within a game or within a season. Like, they're just going to keep showing up and doing what they need to do to be successful. This Denham Springs team could be very scary when they get to the playoffs because of that. But 40 seniors.
Yeah, 42 seniors. And, I think, like, the later the season goes, too, like, there is definitely a grind over the course of the season when it comes to watching film and practice and Saturday mornings. But, like, when you got seniors like that, they want to – this is their last chance. There's no grind getting to those guys. So I think, when I've been a part of older teams, they play better later in the season for obvious reasons. They're more mature, and they handle those situations better. Yeah,
no doubt. It's definitely about that time of year where you can start counting the days on how many times you're going to practice again. Yep. And the closer you get to that, there's a heightened awareness and urgency from those guys that just may be putting pads on for the last time. So that is a team to watch here as we come down the stretch. Teams to watch down in New Orleans, we've got Brother Martin in St. Aug. This game is played Saturday afternoon. St. Aug puts up 49 points. Rolls to a 49-19 victory. This is a St. Aug team. Jason, I told you when the season started, I'm leading the bandwagon for the Purple Knights. They're making me look good. Their only loss is a competitive loss to Carr. Quarterback Fashawn Coulon, 9 for 9 passing, 210 yards, 4 touchdowns. He ran for a touchdown, but the best thing he did all day was he was crowned homecoming king.
Oh, a bad day.
That's a great day for that guy. I think you look at that stat line and you say, okay, St. Aug, did really well. I think if you look at this other stat line, Easton Royal had a 5-yard touchdown catch, and that was it. Then I think that really paints the picture of a 49-19 victory for St. Aug.
He had some big catches too. I mean, he had a few catches other than that. That's the only
right. But if you're keeping about it's like his touchdown is a 5-yard touchdown, like it's.
Oh yeah, 100%. Go ahead, Lance.
That speaks to the athleticism of the St. Aug defense, and really overall. But I mean, this is coming into the season, we knew Coach Valdez and this offense was going to be great, and so they are maybe even exceeding expectations. But where they're really exceeding expectations, in my opinion, is the defensive side now. Yeah. We saw them last week. They held Rome with 3 points. This week, they hold Brother Martin to just a couple touchdowns. They keep an Eastern Royal at the end zone. So, like, man, if they can continue playing defense like that, good luck. Because I mean, you can only do so much against their offense. Their offense is scoring points no matter what, And so if they can put it all together and be this complimentary on the defensive side of the ball, this is a nightmare.
Yep. Yeah, that's an aspect of the game people kind of slept on because you see all the high-flying athletes on the opposite side of the football. They sleep on the defense, but, man, defense is physical. They're big. They play nasty, and they got the guys in the secondary to kind of keep them in check. You can go look. If a lot of teams like to run man in high school, right? Am I wrong here? But not a lot of teams can do it effectively.
Because if you don't have the man, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? If you don't have the Jimmys and Johns or Joes, then it doesn't really matter. And St. Aug can do that, and they're really they're really going to be tough to beat in come playoff time.
They're also showing a lot of balance, too. They scored 49 points. They only threw the ball 9 times. So now they're running the football. They're playing defense. Like, this is a really dangerous St. Aug football team.
Yeah, well, balance both in the run-pass game and in who scores the touchdowns. Miguel Whitley, they're the best receiver on their team. I would say he has a touchdown catch, but Raekwon Williams 4 catches, 156 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like if they can do it from multiple spots, scary team. And they're facing, we'll get into this later on, but they're going to face a Holy Cross team with a backup quarterback next week. And then they got a showdown with John Curtis to end the season. So St. Aug is – go ahead.
Wait, to your point as well, though, Cohen Davis, 10 carries, 56 yards and a touchdown. They also have Keith Hill, a really talented back as well. I know he's kind of struggled with some injuries along the way. But, guys, they've got 5 guys at receiver. That would be pretty much anybody else's number one. They're like 3-4 deep at running back. And their backup quarterback even got a few opportunity to play as well. Guys, he's going to be a dude. Jaleel Noble, you'll remember the name. You'll hear it again. He's going to be one of their big playmakers in the future.
Yeah, and if you look on the other side, Brother Martin, just life in the Catholic League. That's their fourth straight loss before they face now Warren Easton and Holy Cross to end the season. So, like, I'm still not out on this Brother Martin team. I just think the gauntlet that they've rolled through, Coach Bonisa and that staff can keep it together. Again, they could just look to the playoffs and try to go make a run over there. The game that you two called, Rummel, Holy Cross, final score of Rummel 24, Holy Cross 3. Not sure that the game was maybe that lopsided. I think the score kind of got away towards the end there for Holy Cross. But y'all take us through what happened Friday night at Tag Gorman.
Yeah, I think for the most part, this game went exactly how Rummel would have wanted it to go. They ran the football. They controlled the clock. They played incredible defense. But both defensive units were really, really good. The final score here with Rummel getting 24 points really doesn't indicate just how good Holy Cross's defense was. Holy Cross's punt team really struggled with for a lot in a lot of ways. They struggled. Let's just leave it at that. But set up the defense in some tough spots. I mean, at one point, the defense, I think twice, the defense, Rummel got the ball inside Holy Cross's red zone and came away with 0 points. Was it 4?
Yeah.
They came away with 0 points multiple times.
I know. There was 4 red zone trips. Red zone trips at least 3 times. They got at least twice. I know for certain they got the ball within the 10. They got 10 points from those trips total.
Yep.
I mean, it's an incredible defensive effort by Holy Cross.
Yeah, great effort. And so, but overall, this whole Catholic League has great coaches. I thought Coach Monica made the adjustment of the night, which was he kind of got away from the quarter. They have some struggles on offense, and so he said, "Hey, let me put my 2 best players back there." And he went to a wildcat look with Terrence and Corian. What's Corion's last name? Hawkins. Yeah. So all of a sudden, it was just Jaden Terrence and Hawkins put the ball in the players' best hands. Terrence got loose twice. Which it was like an 80-yard touchdown and a 50-yard touchdown. Yep. And so that really put the game away. But, Holy Cross's defense fought really hard. They wanted to feel way too much. And, again, they just kind of wore down and gave up a couple big plays to make the score look a little uglier than it was.
Yeah, this Rummel defense is for real, too. I will say I think it helped them a lot that Holy Cross just started the ball with really bad field position for a lot of the night. I don't think that helped Holy Cross's case any. But Rummel's defense is an elite defense in the state. They proved it once again. Holy Cross busted a few big runs, but really struggled to consistently move the ball offensively. Rummel's offense found enough to get the job done. They found it in themselves. But again, that's when you look at points per game, that kind of tells the story. Like that's what we knew coming into this game. They like to run the football. They're a hard-nosed team. And they play really good defense, and they did an excellent job defensively in this game.
Yeah, they're 2 really good defenses, and Holy Cross has just kind of got worn out, and Rummel was able to bust some long runs. You making a plug, Jason?
Yeah, go ahead, follow, share, like, subscribe, tell everybody, tell your neighbor, tell the people in your quarterback club, whoever it is. Look, we got a lot of feedback. We appreciate everything. We appreciate all the people that have watched and talked to us. Even at games, Lance have run into people who we've had some great conversations with. Again, please continue, and we genuinely appreciate everybody's support.
Yep, absolutely. All right, we'll go through some quick hitters here around the state. I'd like to start with the Central Liberty game. Central, it is a District 4 5A game. Central, a team that's extremely talented, defending state champions. Liberty coming off of a huge victory over Zachary, in which he scored 52 points. The Central defense finally looked like what we thought it might look like, holding Liberty to 19 in a 49-19 victory. It actually held Liberty scoreless through 3 quarters before they were able to score on a pick 6 later in the game.
Yeah, they feel real up and down, the Central team, just from week to week. It's hard to know what they expect, but at the end of the day, they're going to be in the playoffs, and nobody's going to want to face these guys.
Yep.
My guy Eric Brown did an interview with Coach Zachary from Liberty, and he said, we came out and everybody kind of came to see us. They came to see what the show was, and we didn't live up to the billing. And I mean, that's kind of tough to hear from a coach. But the truth is, Liberty played an incredible game last week. Central knew coming in, like we talked about it. Defensively, they'd given up a lot more points than we would expect. Central clearly had a great game plan coming into this game, knew what to do. For Liberty, they're still trying to fight and scrap for a spot in the playoffs, guys. That's how competitive this is. And this is a good Liberty football team. So we'll see what happens down the stretch. But, again, it shows to show how much more difficult it is to get into the playoffs present day.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. That Liberty, as it stands right now, is the 25th team in Division I select playoffs. 24 make the playoffs. So they're the
They'll
first
get some
team
PowerPoints for
out.
playing some more district games, though. Like, that's a really tough district. I have to think that I got to think that they got a good shot to get in.
No, I agree, and I don't think that anyone wants to see them in it. You don't want to see Central on the non-select side, and I don't know if you're going to be that excited to face a Liberty team that they've shown against a good Zachary team that they can score points. Before we go to the next game, I do have to mention this. I told you I would do it. I told my boys I would do it. The Hannon Hawks get a big victory over Cohen. They win 49-28. We pulled away late. It was Cohen made a few big plays. Their quarterback wasn't bad. A really good athlete. Made a few big plays, kind of keep them in the game, and then we pull away late to win 49-28. My guy Riley Jones rushing for 234 yards on 22 carries, and Hunter Lay had 5 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown. Hawks have Lakeshore and Franklinton left. We've got to find a way to win one of those games to secure a playoff spot, but big time win for Hannon over Cohen.
I heard Dupree had a big game as well, right? Grayson.
He only had 20 tackles.
Only 20.
I think that's like his third. That's like his third or fourth 20 tackle game, along with Gabe Timmons. Gabe Timmons had 5 sacks as well. So a big night for those guys. I'm excited for them. Glad to see them do that and get rewarded for they do a good job. That coaching staff and Coach Soper do a good job and finally get some results on the positive side for us. But yeah, 2 big ones left that we got to figure out a way to win one of them.
What other game you want to hit, Lance?
Yeah.
I was going to go. So Country Day South Plaque was a really good game.
Okay.
Country Day jumped out to a lead. I thought Country Day had some pretty clean-looking uniforms, by the way. White, incorporating some black pants. Haven't seen that at Country Day. So that's probably why they got off to a good start. But in the end, South Plaque closed it out 32-23. Coach Feet getting another big win.
And South Plaque returned a lot of guys, too. They're a dangerous team.
They're really good.
Country Day only has, two professional athletes, kids on their teams as well.
Yeah.
Deuce McAllister's son, both basketball players, and Corey Brewer's son, both those guys, incredible athletes at wide receiver, really big playmakers. But guys, what about this one? Covenant Christian beating formerly unbeaten Jeanerette, goes into overtime. Just a really impressive effort. This went into double overtime, actually. First overtime netted no points. And, of course, Owen Trostler, really an impressive guy, a really big baseball player as well. Does enough to get his team the win. Donaldsonville St. James, we talked about Donaldsonville's defense being really big. St. James's offense, it just can't be overstated. They got Cayman Mitchell back at wide receiver. You add another piece to the puzzle that is this dynamic offense, just a really explosive offense. It's going to be tough for anybody to beat. And This one stands out, guys. Ascension Catholic beating North Iberville. Guys, North Iberville might have some of the more they've got a running back in Favorite who's a really big playmaker. You also have Brejean Melanson, who's a really freak of nature athlete at wide receiver. And they got a really talented quarterback. But this Ascension Catholic team kind of proven like you need to be paying attention to us in Division IV Select. A really big win for that team.
I was going to go Parkway is now 8-0. Parkway 45-42 winner over Captain Shreve. Captain Shreve is now 4-4. They're averaging like 48 points a game. Got to be, but they're now 4-4 with just some defensive struggles over there.
Yeah, we could stay up in northern part of the state. Calvary Baptist beats Huntington 45-35. Calvary, a team once they got in the district, kind of lost sight of them a little bit, but they just keep scoring or keep putting up points and they keep winning ball games. This has definitely got to be one of the favorites heading into the playoffs.
And look, they trailed early in that game. They had to come back. Hudson Fields, really great playmaker for Calvary at quarterback. There's a Braylon Hugland who's, I believe, is a 4-star guy, a really solid athlete. But look, Huntington got some offense, man. Like they can put up points. Got that really big offensive line. So for Calvary to do what they're doing against better and bigger competition, their only loss to Mike Collins is Neville Tigers. Yep. Look, they're definitely in that conversation as elite teams in the state.
Yeah, no doubt. Oak Grove over Faraday 13-6. That's two teams that you're used to seeing play deep into the playoffs. The score kind of indicates how both these teams want to play. They want to slow it down. They want to run the football, and they want to play defense, and they did just that. Oak Grove wins 13-6. This was a game. This is another interesting. It was played at Oak Grove. It was a Faraday home game. Faraday can't use their field. The LHSA deemed it unplayable for a certain number of weeks. I think at some point they'll be able to get back to it. But Oak Grove actually played the game at home, but it was a Faraday home game. Faraday, that's in that district with Washita Christians. Faraday has Washita Christian this week, so a tough back-to-back for those guys.
Washita Christian, Mangum, Faraday, it doesn't get much more difficult than that. That's a brutal district.
Yep.
Showing eye, the Owls got them a win. District win, 17-7. Big win there. East Feliciana has been good all year. Not good enough for Elijah Haven, though. Elijah Haven, 4 touchdowns, another big day. Dunham beats him 42-0. He's got a ton of playmakers around him, too.
Jarvis Washington, their receiver, he can flat out fly. They got some other guys on that team as well, man. They got guys that can play both ways. They're a fun team to watch. But, guys, young audiences, a team that is not playing for district honors, can't go another week without mentioning. They're 6-0 on the season. The Yaks, there you go, guys. Add that one to your mascot list. The only Yaks in the state.
Good uniforms, too.
Audience is Yak.
All black.
The young, look, it's sick. It's yellow and blue. Yep. Yeah. The Yaks. I love it. You got some, look. Got one Comet, got one Yak. There's a few others out there. The Giants, unfortunately, they got two. So the Lumberjacks, right? I think there's only one Lumberjacks. I think yes.
Patterson, huh? Patterson's Lumberjacks.
Patterson Lumberjacks, and then the Fighting Farmers. Who are the Fighting Farmers? Y'all know?
I know this one.
Union.
Union Parish, formerly known as Farmerville, but yeah. Look, there was also some really impressive guys. Santa Maria defeated Live Oak 55-52. A big offensive game. Cash Davis had 7 catches for 168 yards in a losing effort with 2 touchdowns, but both teams love to put up offense. Live Oak only has 2 wins on the season. Guys, they kind of mirror sentiment with this other team I'm going to talk about real quick, Houghton. I'm stumbled. I don't know Houghton's mascot off the top of my head. So there you go. Finally got me.
The Buccaneers.
There you go. Yep. You're absolutely right. The Buccaneers. But their offense has been just incredible, y'all. Looking at their numbers, Taylor Weathersby, his 4th consecutive game over 350 yards. Brandon Craig had 220 yards and a pair of touchdowns. He has 1,500 total on the year with 19 touchdowns. Ethan Johnson might be the leading receiver in the state with 2,000 yards, 80 receptions. He set a record with 18 receptions in a game a few weeks ago. But guys, still struggling in their district. This was to show. We talk about how offensive it is up there. It's unbelievable the amount of offense they have up there. And that was against Evangel this week.
Well, I was going to stay in that district just to point out that Pop Houston has 42 total touchdowns and 3,500 yards. That is, it's video game like numbers that what he is doing up there. While we're on the talk a little bit of uniforms, we failed to mention this. Lance, what was Rummel wearing on Friday?
I knew which direction you were going. Yeah, Rummel wore red pants. We knew right away they were going to have a good defensive night just because of their red pants. And then the other one was I think it was Laranja, right? All pink.
No, that was Albany.
Yeah. Albany wore straight
Not
pink.
a fan?
It was
I
different.
didn't see it. I'll tell you what.
Good intentions. Didn't look great.
Yeah, that's just – we might just want to punt on the
Look,
pink. But we know now that Coach Monica listens to the show. Like, he was a guest, but he listens to the show. So continue to wear red.
But look, Marshall Loeffler, the guy, our guy from Red River Roundup, he mentioned clean uniforms, Washita Christian, gold dome, white jersey, green pants. It's a clean look. It's a really nice look.
Well, we also have on here too, Lance mentioned the Carr black jersey. That might take the cake when you pair their team wearing a black jersey. Like don't even get off the bus.
Yep.
Look, I'm a big I like Vanderbilt Catholic stuff too. The Terriers. I don't know if there's any other. I think there's only one Terrier in the state, so unique mascots. But guys, we haven't talked a ton about them. Still undefeated with a big win over Assumption. Ethan Henney, 247 passing, 4 touchdowns. He's a really impressive prospect. He puts the ball on the money. He's a guy we haven't talked a ton about. Javian Adams, 191, 3 touchdowns. Iowa Yellow Jackets, a team that still remains undefeated.
Team that made it to the semifinals last year.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about them some more as well. But also talk about 5A. Bird, Christian Maxey, 31 carries, 342 yards, and a passing touchdown with 6 rushing touchdowns. So, and they really like their offense up north, guys.
Yeah,
they put up massive numbers week after week.
That they do. Yeah, speaking of that Vanderbilt Catholic, they have South Terrebonne this coming week, and then that Week 10 game with E.D. White has the potential to be really exciting down there in a big rivalry game down on the Bayou.
Abbeville getting their 3rd win this season over Kaplan, a 12-7 win. Guys, this was an Abbeville team that was winless a year ago. Yep. So on win number 3, ton of talent. Like loaded with talent. But it's nice to see them be able to put it together this week.
All right. Is that y'all want go anywhere else?
Tiger Pride and Natchitoches St. Mary's beat LaSalle. Big time rivalry.
That's a big one. Yeah.
That was a serious rivalry matchup when I was out that way. So good to see the Tigers get a win.
This one was a shocker for me. Vermilion Catholic defeated Opelousas Catholic 50-15. That score really jumps off the page because that is a very talented Opelousas Catholic team. So Roderick Tenzo on that offense. He's committed to USC, a solid playmaker at wide receiver, but they got guys. They got dudes all over the field for Vermilion Catholic to overcome their struggles this year to get that win in that manner.
Huge win.
Yeah, no, that is huge. And that again, it might be it's a program pedigree. I know they lost a ton off their state championship team last year, but a program that's used to winning, maybe just getting hot at the right time, and we'll see. They have an opportunity to win a few more games here before the playoffs get kickstarted.
All right, wait, talking about uniforms, though. Wait, this one drives me nuts. Red River beat Manny in a rivalry game 34-6. Okay.
What color is Red River?
Black and blue. I mean, look, I don't think I'm asking much, but if your town is orange, like in Orange, Texas, your team should be orange. Like, I'm sorry. If color is in the title of your town, you have to adopt that color. It's inexcusable. Ridiculous.
I'm with you. Hey, I'm with you. I'm leading the argument for that. I also have another one. The frog capital of the world is Rain, Louisiana.
Ooh.
They're not the Rain Frogs. They should be. They're the Rain Tigers in their purple and gold. But neither here nor there.
It's not the St. Charles Catholic Andouille, because the Andouille capital of the world is in Laplace. So,
but if you're going to be, the Frogs are a little different.
It's the Rain Wolves, I believe, right?
Whatever they are, it's not the Frogs.
It's not the
It's not the Frogs. Not the Frogs. All right. Well, we've had enough fun for tonight. We could do this a lot longer, but we'll end it there. We'll save some for Tuesday. If you are still watching, please go follow, like, share, and subscribe both on X and on YouTube. You can also catch us on VSN, both live and on demand. We will see y'all again on Tuesday night at 8:05, where we will preview week number 9 of the high school football season. Tuesday, we could also get into some power rankings as some stuff starts to take some shape. 2 weeks of the regular season left. The season has flown by. It just feels like we're getting to the fun part here now, though. But thank y'all for watching, following along this long on your spending your Sunday night with us. For Lance and Jason, I am Cass. Thanks for watching Talking Ball, y'all. We will see y'all on Tuesday.